everybody, and welcome. This is NBL Free Agency Market Watch, and the countdown is well and truly on to hashtag NBL23. I'm excited. Liam Santa Maria, hello to you.
Hello, mate. Yeah, you're right. The NBL Blitz, maybe 3 weeks away up in Darwin. So it's getting close.
Are you going?
Not sure. Hope so.
Mate, because obviously Homicide's got his alligator or crocodile or whatever the hell he's got up there, Otis. He's too scared to go back, so he might need to do it for the NBL overtime crew to go up and say good day to him.
Well, I was up there for the 3x3 a few years ago. Went off. The Darwinians, is that what we say? They got around it.
Well, I just call them the Salties. Just the entire joint now, in my mind, of the Salties. Can't wait for the Blitz. Can't wait for NBL 23. And you and I spoke last week about how we can't wait for Adelaide. We talked about Robert Franks a little while ago. It looked like he was on his way. And he got through immigration and customs in his hair. And it's exciting. And the 36ers are pumped. And Robert Franks is here for NBL 23.
Yeah, I mean, it's great news for Adelaide. It's great news for the league. Here was a chance to get us some extra cash elsewhere at Locomotive in Russia. So, how does he feel about it? I think he feels pretty good all in all. It's a great next spot for him because that team is loaded. And he was such an important piece to that puzzle. Now, if he had a bounce, they would have had some money to spend to replace him, no doubt about it. But they might have missed on that potential guy. Whereas Robert Franks is not a miss. We know what he's going to come in and do. We know what Antonius Cleveland is going to do. So the fact that it's all worked out that way, the ankle injury, Locomotive have decided to go in a different direction. He's here with Adelaide. He's here a little later than they thought, a couple of weeks. So they're going to need to work through that, but locked and loaded for the upcoming season. I'll
say this, Liam. Him being here a couple of weeks after they were hoping or expected him to be here makes zero difference. Zero difference. Keeping in mind they don't start their season until round 3. So they have got a little leeway when it comes to the actual NBL season. But I'm excited. Adelaide, they're loving us right now, Liam. I think you and I got to get to a game. They posted our comments last week, and I desperately want to see a packed Adelaide. And I throw the challenge to you. I know you got to ask your wife for permission, but I expect us to be there real early in the season. Are we going?
I hope so. I'm hoping to spend a bit of time with the 36ers in the early stages of the season. We'll see how that plays out. But just from a roster perspective, it doesn't make a difference. You're right. But there's no doubt when he rocks up at practice there, might have just felt a little sheepish. A couple of little.
Come on, man! It's a
jabs, mate. Mate,
it's a pro sportsman and pro sportswomen's life. They're gonna sometimes just see a little extra cash somewhere. Let us have a little chat. I think everyone would understand that.
CJ Bruton, he's got the pieces. Now, how does it all fit together? How does it all fit together with Macca and Craig Randall and Detch and those guys on the perimeter and Cleveland? We know what he's going to do defensively. Yes. How does DJ and Franks, a little bit of Kai Soto, how does all that work in the front court, locked and loaded with a whole bunch of talent?
And it's his crew. His crew. It's his fingerprints on this entire squad, and I can't wait to see them roll them out. Now, talking Adelaide, Amanda's played there last couple of years, came Bairstow, and it sucks. It sucks. Announced his retirement this week. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he's lost the joy, which, to be fair, Liam, when you get injured and you've struggled as much with injury in the last few years as he has, I can understand why it's no longer joyful to try and be a professional athlete. It is a really frustrating situation for us as basketball fans to not see him be able to get on the court continually. Unfortunately for him, he's got to live it. The Olympics, we go back to 2016. He's a big part of this team that's on the verge of a medal. Of course, we know what famously happened there. He gets hurt, and from there, he just couldn't get his body right. It's been a really rough 6 years, and unfortunately for Cam Bairstow, he's going to dominate next level of his life, next chapter of his life, but unfortunately, pro basketball is over.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well said. And shout out to him on his career, because it's been a frustrating past 6 years, no doubt. Since that shoulder injury at the Olympics, then the knee injury at Brisbane when he was doing so well, and then just one thing after another since then. Every time he stepped out on the floor in the NBL, he's been 12-6. Look at him, 12-6.
Bang.
Last season, he even had more rebounds than that. He was the best offensive rebounder in the league last season with the way he went about it. And he was, for a long part of the season, he was Adelaide's best player. That's the shame, because when he has been out on the court, he's been highly influential. But shout out to him on his career, because there will be some feelings of frustration and annoyance. And as you say, he lost the love and a little bit of like what I could have been. But the fact is, he's an Olympian and he's an NBA player. And those two things in and of themselves are a tremendous achievement. Now, you mentioned the next phase of his career. He's becoming an agent.
Here we go.
The man is going to wheel and deal.
I like it.
Over the off season, he's going to sign some guys to some contracts. So excited to see how that plays out, who he can get as his first couple of clients as he steps his way into that part of the industry.
Hey, Tristan Forsyth ends up on a roster. And of course, opportunity, every time there's an opportunity with an injured player and you come in as an injury replacement, it gives you an opportunity to continue to show the team and the league you belong at this level, and he gets that opportunity.
Yeah, so they've signed him as the injury replacement for Will Magnay. Now, short-term contract, obviously, hopefully, and I flagged this last time that I'm worried about this. Hopefully this Magnay bone bruise injury doesn't become a lingering thing all season long. The Jack Jumpers do not need that. But they do have Tristan Forsyth ready to help out. Now, Scott Roth said to me, keep in mind, with Tristan Forsyth, we're not replacing Will Magnay. We're replacing Jock Perry, who they felt kind of played that role for them last season. So Fabian Krislovic, Jared Bairstow, these guys play more minutes. And then behind them, helping out a little bit, will be Tristan Forsyth. There's some insurance with foul trouble and the like. So a couple of years with Southeast Melbourne as a DP, went down there and impressed, and he's now a Jack Jumper.
Now, I don't know how much you had to do with this, but of course you had Scott Roth on the huddle earlier this week. You got Simon Mitchell from Southeast Melbourne Phoenix coming up. So I'm assuming that Tristan Forsyth is going to be a pretty hot topic on both. But don't firstly grab the huddle and make sure you check it. Secondly, good opportunity. And Tasmania have done a really good job. Scott Roth, great chat you had with him. They've done a really good opportunity of getting guys and getting them to play a perfect role. We seen it last year. A couple of men you mentioned there. And all of a sudden, Tristan Forsyth gets that opportunity. So good luck to the big man. And good luck to Will Magnay, because we all want him on court ASAP.
Please. We got to get him back out there, because
absolutely.
We talk about Cam Bairstow and the injuries. It's been like that for Will Magnay over the last couple of years. Since he went out, I mean, he was two-way Magnay. The arrow was pointed so far straight up, and he went over there with New Orleans, and then he's just been hurt ever since. Now, some flashes, some glimpses, like similar story to Cam Bairstow. So hopefully he can get himself right.
All right, a couple of quick fire ones. Development players, the Kings have been busy. They've got a couple in the last couple of days.
Yep, locked in Iggy Mitchell to come back, and locked in Zach Gatorna. Flagged this a little while ago on a write-up. West Aussie was with Adelaide, talented young man. So he's in as a DP for Sydney, and the Jack Jumpers as well. Josh Tomasi. Scott Roth described him as a diamond in the rough, the big fella, the 6'10", 20-year-old out of Melbourne. So they've loaded up with a couple of extra bigs.
Few people believe he slipped under the radar. Might be Jack Jumper's fortune. New Zealand and Brisbane imports. I want to maybe focus quickly on Brisbane and the final import slot. I see the bookmakers had them as the second favourite in the NBL. Do they know someone big is coming, Liam? What can you tell us?
Well, I don't know about that. It's an interesting situation, though. They need a wing, I think, a small forward. They've got a lot of bigs, and DJ Mitchell, they're more of a power forward. So my understanding is that the Bullets, their ownership in particular, are kind of playing a little waiting game on this last roster spot. They're looking at the situation with NBA guys right on the fringe, maybe guys with Exhibit 10 contracts right now who are going to training camp, and they're hoping to pick someone up who drops out of that. They see this as being the final piece to what they hope is a championship puzzle, and they're taking their time.
And just quickly, the Boomers are in Bahrain over the next couple of days for a game. They'll come back to regional Victoria and take on Iran in Bendigo. Couple of young Boomers, though. A couple of young guys. You were in Canberra on a junket recently checking them out. What can you tell me?
Yeah, Rory Hawke and Alex Tui, two guys really talented coming up. They've been playing in those NBL 1 wildcard games. Keep an eye on these two young men. Future pros, very high ceilings for both of these kids.
Hashtag NBL free agency. Hey, NBL overtime's not far away either, guys. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that announcement in the next week or so. Before all of that, grab the huddle. Scott Roth is out. Simon Mitchell a day or two away. Liam, see you next week.